In the last session we have seen the amplitude modulation. Today's session we are going to see what are the advantages and disadvantages of AM modulation. So advantages of AM wave is, AM transmitter is less complex. So the designing of the AM transmitter is very less complex, and AM receivers are simple and detection is very easy. AM receivers are cost efficient, and here AM waves can travel a longer bandwidth. So these are the advantages of the analog modulation, whereas it has also got the disadvantage in the analog modulation. So these are the some of the disadvantages of the AM wave. Here where power is wasted in the analog modulation while transmitting the signal. So because the power is the main constraints of the any communication system, but the disadvantage of the AM modulation is power is wasted while transmitting the signal. And this analog modulation needs very large bandwidth, but it can travel for a longer bandwidth, but it requires a larger bandwidth. That is the disadvantage of the analog modulation. And last one is, it is going to be get affected by the noise. We will see what are the problem we are going to face in the analog modulation. So these are the disadvantage of the analog modulation. Now when come to this, for any analog modulation, for 100% modulation, that is we are going to consider the modulation index is equal to 1, whereas it require, when the modulation index is equal to 1, that is mu is equal to 1, 33.33% of the total power will be considered by the sideband which carries the information, and remaining 66.66% of the total power will be carried by the carrier which will not consider any information. Here the power will be carriers which does not contain any information. That is why only 33.33% of the total power will be in the sideband which carries the information. So next come to this, that is the second one. AM needs larger bandwidths. So how much bandwidth it is required is, transmitted signal requires twice the bandwidth of the message signal, that is B of t is equal to 2 into FM. Here transmitted signal requires twice the bandwidth of the message signal, that is B of t is equal to 2 into FM. Now as we said, the third disadvantage of the AM modulation is AM wave gets affected due to the noise, because AM consists of receiver and transmitter, correct? It has got the transmitter and the receiver. So while transmitting from transmitter to receiver, the noise will be get added to the signal. So whatever the noise get added to the signal, it will going to vary the analog modulation signal. So that is why it will going to travels from the transmitter to the receiver, whereas noise will change the amplitude of the signal. So these are the disadvantage of the AM wave, and these are the advantages of the AM wave. The power wastage in the analog modulation is overcome by the technique called as the double sideband suppressed carrier modulation. So in the analog modulation we have seen the disadvantage is total power is wasted. So in order to overcome that, we are going to use a double sideband suppressed carrier modulation. So let us see what is going to happen in this particular modulation. So here the time domain representation. So we are going to represent here both by using both the message signal as well as the carrier signal with respect to the time domain. So time domain representing of DSP. So DSP is nothing but double sideband suppressed carrier. So we will see why we are going to call this as the suppressed carrier. And wave is, here we have got M of t, that is we know that is a message signal, and C of t is nothing but the carrier signal which we are going to represent by AC into cos 2 pi into FC into t. Now S of t, that is the S of t is equal to M of t into C of t. So let us consider this as the equation 1. So here S of t is equal to, we are going to represent by considering the message signal as well as the carrier signal. M of t into C of t, we will consider that as the equation 1. Here S of t is equal to AC into cos 2 pi FCT into M of t. Let us consider this as the equation 2. Here this is a method, double sideband suppressed carrier is a method where we are going to use only two sidebands, whereas it consists of only two sidebands are transmitted without carrier. Okay, here the carrier is suppressed in the double sideband suppressed carrier modulation. So we will see whenever writing the spectrum, we will see how to write the particular spectrum for the double sideband. So that is why DSBSC is a method of transmission of only two sidebands are transmitted without the carrier. Here when we consider this, so how to represent S of t? Here in the DSBSC, the S of t is going to represent like this. We are going to consider the M of t, this is our message signal. So here it will going to undergo phase reversal when message signal crosses 0. That means what? So this is, we call this as the M of t, that is our message signal. Whenever it crosses 0 here, it will going to be get the phase reversal. So let us consider this is the carrier signal and this is the message signal. We can see here it will going to be get phase reversal. Here you can see this is the phase reversal will going to happen whenever we consider the S of t in the DSBSC. So till now we have seen the time domain expression for S of t. Now let us see the frequency domain of S of t. So how to represent the frequency domain expression? Now taking the Fourier transform on both the side of the equation. So we have got the equation 2, that is S of t is equal to AC into cos 2 pi FCT into M of t, that is the equation 2. For that, if we consider the Fourier transform, we are going to get this equation, that is in terms of Fourier transform, S of f is equal to AC divided by 2 m into f minus fc plus m into f plus fc. So let us consider this as the equation 3, and now let us see how to write the spectrum for the message signal and the spectrum for the sideband signals. So now let us consider this as M of 0. So this is the message signal spectrum. We are going to represent this as the message signal spectrum, whereas it has got M of f, we are going to represent with respect to the 0, minus w and plus w. So whenever we are going to represent the spectrum with respect to the DSBS, that is double sideband suppressed signal, we can represent like this. So let us consider this as 0 and this as 0, and we are going to represent minus fc. So this is the spectrum for the message signal. We are going to represent like this for the S of f, that is the Fourier transformation whenever we consider the equation number 2. Now this is the spectrum for the double sideband suppressed signal. So we are going to represent like this, where it has got the, this one we are going to consider it as the upper sideband, and here we are going to consider this as the lower sideband. Similarly, we are going to consider this as the upper sideband and this as the lower sideband. So here, in order to represent the frequency for the spectrum of the double sideband suppressed carrier, so let us consider this is the spectrum for double sideband suppressed carrier. So here this dotted lines is the suppressed carrier. Here without using the carrier we are going to transmit the message signal, that is why it is called as the suppressed carrier. So how to represent the frequency or how to indicate the frequency for the double sideband frequency is, so this is called as the center frequency for both the spectrum, that is we are going to represent by using Fc. This is the center frequency, and whenever we come to the upper sideband and lower sideband, this is represented as Fc plus omega and this is represented by Fc minus omega, and here this is represented as minus Fc plus omega and this is represented as minus Fc minus omega. So here we can see it has got both the sidebands has got the bandwidth of 2 omega. So in the double sideband suppressed carrier we are going to suppress the carrier, and by using this double sideband we are going to transmit the message signal, that is why it is called as the double sideband suppressed carrier. So this is the spectrum. So in double sideband suppressed carrier for the single tone modulation, we call that as a single tone modulation, we are going to represent like this. So we are going to consider the message signal, the carrier signal and the S of t. So we know that m of t is equal to am into cos 2 pi fm into t and c of t is equal to ac into cos 2 pi fct. So altogether in the DSBSC, S of t we are going to represent like this, that is m of t into c of t. So altogether we are going to write am into cos 2 pi fm into t into ac into cos 2 pi fc into t. So how it looks like is cos a into cos b. So we know the formula for cos a into cos b is equal to half into a plus b plus cos a minus b. So same way we are going to consider or transforming the same S of t into the equation cos a into cos b, we are going to get the equation S of t is equal to am into ac divided by 2 cos 2 pi into fc minus fm into t plus am into ac divided by 2 into cos 2 pi fc plus fm into t. So this is the equation what we are going to get after substituting the S of t into the formula cos a into cos b. Now whenever taking Fourier transform for both the side, so we have got the equation S of t here. So taking the Fourier transform on both side we are going to get the equation like this, that is am into ac divided by 4. So here you can compare this equation with the Fourier transform what we have done here. So am into ac divided by 4. So del of f minus fc minus fm plus del of f plus fc minus fm, and another equation cos term am into ac divided by 4 into del of f minus fc plus fm plus del of f plus fc plus fm. So here we have considered this is a Fourier transform. Now how to write the spectrum for the obtained Fourier transform here is, you have to consider all the term present in this equation. So whenever we consider this particular equation we have got the term here is the fc, that is we have to multiply this minus fc minus fm. So let us write here minus fc minus into minus plus fm, one term. So there we have got the plus symbol, so there that is fc minus fm, and whenever we consider this equation here it is a minus, that is minus fc minus fm, and here we have got what, fc plus fm. So we can draw the spectrum for this obtained terms. So till now we have seen the spectrum of the double sideband suppressed carrier. So we know that why it is called as the suppressed carrier in the double sideband, because there the carrier is suppressed in order to transmit the message signal. So similarly we have got a circuit called as a ring modulator. We can see how the carrier signal is suppressed in this circuit. So that is called as the ring modulator. So this is the circuit diagram for the ring modulator, whereas it has got T1 and T2 are the transformer. So in the ring modulator circuits, here we have got the ring modulator circuits. Here it has got two transformer, that is T1 and T2 are the two transformer, and here we have got the four diodes, that is D1, D2, D3 and D4. So here we have got the two transformer and the four diodes, whereas we are going to give the carrier oscillator. We have connected the carrier oscillator where the carrier signal has been applied to the center tap of the transformer of T1 and T2. So both at the T1 and the T2 center tap transformer, we are going to apply the carrier signal to the transformer. Here we are going to apply the modulating input M of T. So how this why this is called as a ring modulator? Because the diodes are connected in the ring fashion, that is why it is called as a ring modulator. So it will going to work with respect to the forward bias as well as the reverse bias. So let us see, whenever we apply the M of T, what will happen to the circuit and what is the output we are going to obtain here, and we are going to also consider with respect to the carrier signal. So first we are going to apply the carrier signal to the both the center tap of the transformer, and we will see what happened to the diodes and what is the output we are going to gain at the output of the S of T. Then later part we are going to see the applying the modulating input, what is going to happen at the output. That is why at the positive half cycle of the diode and at the negative half cycle of the diode, we are going to see how this ring modulator will going to be in the work. So this is called as ring modulator because the diode is connected in the ring fashion. That is why it is called as a ring modulator. It is going to work with respect to the two conditions, that is while applying the C of T, that is the carrier signal, to the both the transformer, it is going to work with respect to the forward bias and with respect to the reverse bias, what will happen to the output. And third condition is what is going to happen whenever we apply the M of T. Here what we are going to prove here is how the carrier is going to be suppressed by using this ring modulator. Now after considering this ring modulator, while applying C of T, that is the carrier signal, we will see this C of T is applied to the center tap of the transformer. So after applying C of T in the positive half cycle, let us see how this circuit will going to be in the work condition. So let us consider during the positive half cycle. So whereas M of T is equal to 0. So let us see what is going to happen and what is the working of the diode in the ring modulator. So without considering the modulating input, that is M of T, here we are going to consider only the carrier signal. So whereas the carrier signal is applied to the center tap of the transformer, here we are going to apply this. So after applying this, you can see this is the diode 1 is in the forward bias, and also here diode 2 is also in the forward bias, whereas this diode D3 and whichever the dotted line present here, this is the D3 and this is the D4. These diodes will be in the reverse bias. That means what? D1 and D2 diodes will be in the on condition and D3 and D4 will be in the off condition. The current in the upper part of the windings produces the magnetic field which is equal and opposite in direction. Same way in the here whatever the current, so D1 and D2 is on and D3 and D4 is off. So after this, whatever the current produced here in the upper part of the windings which present in the upper part of the windings produces the magnetic field which is equal and opposite in direction. So same way, whenever it comes to the secondary, it is also produces the current which is equal and opposite in the magnetic field, which get cancelled. That means what? Here the carrier is suppressed, that whereas we are not going to get any output there, as magnetic fields are equal and opposite in the secondary direction or the secondary transformer, it get cancelled each other and creating no output at the output terminal here. So that is m of t is, we have considered m of t is equal to 0 during the positive half cycle. D1 and D2 is in the on state, that is forward bias. D3 and D4 is in the off state, that is reverse bias. It is these two diodes are on and these two diodes are off, and here it will going to generate the current, whereas the magnetic field of that particular current is equal and opposite in the direction, which get cancelled in the both at the upper and the lower, both at the upper winding and the lower winding, it get cancelled, creating the no output at the output term. Now here also let us consider m of t is equal to 0, but at the negative half cycle what will happen is, so same circuit diagram we are going to consider. So during the negative half cycle we are going to apply the carrier signal to the center tap of the transformer. So after applying this, without considering the modulated signal, after applying this, what will happen here, D1 and D2 diode will be in the off state and D3 and D4 diode will be in the on state. That is D1 and D2 will be in the on state and D3 and D4 will be in the, sorry, so here the diode D1 and D2 will be in the off state and D3 and D4 will be in the on state. So similarly, whatever happened in the positive half cycle, here also in the negative half cycle, the D1 and D2 is off, that is reverse bias, and D3 and D4 is forward bias, because here we are going to apply the carrier signal to the center tap of the transformer. So here also what is going to happen here is, current which is produced in the upper part of the winding will produce as the magnetic field which is equal and opposite in the direction. Same thing what is happened in the positive half cycle, similarly that is happened in the negative half cycle. That is why at the secondary of the transformer we are not going to get any output. Here the carrier is suppressed. So we have seen both the condition while keeping m of t is equal to 0, both the condition, that is positive half cycle and the negative half cycle. While applying the carrier signal to the ring modulator, we have got the output, that is the suppressed carrier at the output. That is why this is called as double sideband suppressed carrier. We are going to prove by considering the ring modulator circuit. Now let us see what will happen when we are going to apply the m of t. That is, whenever we apply the m of t here, what is the output we are going to see? We are going to get at the output we are going to see now. So there we have seen both in the positive half cycle and the negative half cycle. Now let us see what will happen with the modulating signal. So here in this diagram you can see there is no carrier wave is not applied to the center tap of the transformer. Okay. So here we are going to apply the modulating signal at the transformer T1 and we will see what will happen at the T2. So without considering the carrier, so last we have seen that what is happened when the carrier is applied to the both the center tap of the transformer, that is both at the positive half cycle and the negative half cycle. So there the current obtained at the upper windings and the lower windings, the magnetic field what it is generated, it is both in opposite and opposite in direction and it is equal and opposite in direction. So it is got cancelled when we consider the carrier signal. Now when we consider the modulating signal, we see that lower frequency. So here we are going to apply what? Low frequency sine wave is applied to the T1. Here we are going to apply the low frequency sine wave signal which appear across the T1 of secondary. Okay, so this is called as a secondary. It will going to appear across the secondary. Now what will happen to the D1 and D2, D3 and D4 diode? Here you can see in the positive half cycle, when the modulating signal is in the positive half cycle, here you can see D1 and D2 are forward bias. So you can refer this diagram for the explanation. Here in the positive half cycle, D1 and D2 are in the forward bias. What will going to happen? Which transformer is going to connected with this? Connect the secondary of the T1 to the primary of T2. So here whatever the modulated signal generated here, after that the D1 and D2 will be in the forward bias. It will going to connect the secondary of the transformer T2 in the positive half cycle. Now in the negative half cycle, D3 and D4 are forward bias, and here also it will going to connect the secondary of T1 to the primary of T2. So now what is the result at the transformer T2 is, the result is 180 degree phase shift of modulated signal. So whatever the modulated signal we are going to apply based upon the diodes in the positive half cycle, D1 and D2 will be in the forward bias, D3 and D4 will be in the reverse bias. So when we apply the modulating signal in the positive half cycle, D1 and D2 will be in the forward bias. In the negative half cycle, D3 and D4 will be in the forward bias. So at last we are going to get the output which will be of 180 degree phase shift of modulated signal. This is about the double sideband carrier, that is suppressed carrier. So here you can see after suppressing the carrier we are going to get the 180 degree phase shift of modulated signal. So for this, let us consider the carrier signal. What will happen when we are going to apply the square wave? So in case of square wave carrier, that is when the C of t is in the carrier representation, C of t we are going to represent with respect to the Fourier series. So let us consider C of t, that is the carrier wave, is equal to 4 divided by pi summation n is equal to 1 to infinity minus 1 to the power n minus 1 divided by 2 power n minus 1 cos of 2 pi fct into 2 power n minus 1. So let us consider this equation as 1. And now we know that for the double sideband suppressed carrier we have got the equation. What is that? S of t is equal to C of t into m of t. So let us consider this as the equation 2. Now what we have to do here is, we have got the C of t. So substituting this C of t in this equation 2, we are going to get the equation S of t is equal to 4 divided by pi. So let us keep this equation as it is. So summation n is equal to 1 to infinity. Now minus 1 to the power n minus 1 divided by 2n minus 1 into cos 2 pi fct into 2 power n minus 1 into m of t. So we are going to substitute, keeping m of t as it is, we are going to substitute the equation C of t into the equation number 2. So this is what we are going to get at the end. So after double sideband suppressed carrier, we have got what? S of t. So that is S of t is equal to m into t into C of t. So here we are going to see another circuit called as a coherent detection of double sideband suppressed carrier modulated wave. So here what we are going to do here is, we are going to extract m of t here by taking the input as S of t. So we know that S of t is equal to what? C of t into m of t. So by passing this through the circuit called as a coherent detector, we are going to extract m of t. So let us see what are the components present in the coherent detector. So here we are going to send S of t here. We have got the product modulator, and this is the local oscillator which will going to generate C of t, that is the carrier signal, where we are going to consider this as the cos into 2 pi fct plus phi. Okay, so this is generated by the local oscillator, and whatever the output we are going to get from the product modulator, that is represented by V of t, and after getting V of t we are going to pass through the low pass filter in order to extract the required signal. So after getting that, V naught of t is nothing but our message signal. So that is why we are going to say that modulating signal m of t is recovered for DSB SC by multiplying S of t with locally generated carrier and then pass to the low pass filter. That means what? Whatever the C of t generated by the local oscillator is multiplied with S of t in the product modulator, and we are going to extract what? Modulating signal, that is m of t. Now we have got the equation for this, how to extract. So here what is the equation we are going to get, we will see. Now for the faithful recovery of m of t, the local oscillator output should be exactly coherent. Here coherent means what? That the synchronization between the frequency and the phase. That should be what? It has to have the coherent or synchronized in both the frequency and the phase with C of t. That is why it is called as a coherent detector. Now at the product modulator, the output is given by, so we all know that from where we are going to get the V of t, that is when multiplying with the local oscillator C of t into S of t. So S of t into cos 2 pi fct plus phi. So this is obtained by the local oscillator. Let us consider that equation as 1. Now here we know that S of t is equal to what? AC into cos 2 pi fct, that is of carrier signal, into m of t, that is message signal. So we will consider this as the equation 2. Now substituting the equation 2 in 1, because here V of t is equal to S of t is there, we have got the equation S of t. So substituting this equation in V of t, what we are going to get here is V of t is equal to AC cos 2 pi fct plus phi into cos 2 pi fct into m of t. So this, it looks like what? Cos A into cos B. So what is the equation for the cos A into cos B is, that is half into cos A minus B plus half into cos A plus B. So considering the equation, above equation in this form, we are going to get the equation like this. So V of t is equal to AC into m of t divided by 2 into cos 2 pi fct plus phi minus 2 pi fct. So here you can see this get cancelled because of plus and minus, and remaining is what? Plus AC into m of t divided by 2 into cos into 2 pi fct plus phi plus 2 pi fct. So arranging that equation, we are going to get V of t is equal to AC into m of t divided by 2, and the remaining equation here is cos into pi plus the remaining equation AC into m of t divided by 2 into cos. So there we have got 2 pi fct plus 2 pi fct, altogether it will become what? 4 pi fct plus phi. That is consider that as equation number 3. Now when we consider this, in which term we have got the m of t. So in this term we have got the m of t, that is where we have retrieved back the message signal from the S of t. So that is why what we are going to do here is, this one we are going to call that as the unwanted term. Okay, this is called as the unwanted term because we cannot find the message signal in that particular term. So this is the equation where we have got the message signal, that is V of t is equal to AC into m of t divided by 2 into cos pi. Here we have got V of t is equal to AC into m of t cos pi divided by 2. So we have retrieved the message signal here, and here V of t, whatever the output we have got across V of t, we are going to pass through the low pass filter, whereas we are going to get the V naught of t. Here phi represent the phase error. If at all the phase error is present, we are going to represent through the phi. Okay, V of t is passed through the low pass filter. The last equation you can write like this: V naught of t is equal to AC divided by 2 cos pi into m of t. So as I said, phi of t is equal to what? Phase error. So now when phase error, if it is equal to 0, what is going to happen to the amplitude of V naught of t? If at all phi is equal to 0, that is phase error is equal to 0, amplitude of V naught of t is maximum. Okay, when it is phi is equal to 0, when the phase error is equal to 0, the amplitude of the V naught of t is equal to what? Maximum. If at all the phase error lies between plus or minus pi by 2, it lies between plus or minus pi by 2, the amplitude of the V naught of t is minimum. So there should the proper phi of t should be what? That should be 0, because the amplitude of V naught of t is maximum when phi of t is equal to 0. So in the coherent detection we have seen how to retrieve back the m of t, and there we have got the 180 degree phase shift. Now here we have got one more circuit called as Costas receiver. So we have got different terminals here. Let us see what is the Costas receiver consist of. So here we have got the two product modulator. So in the coherent detection we have got only one product modulator, and here we have got two product modulator, whereas we are going to apply the DSBSC signal, that is double sideband suppressed carrier signal. So what does the double sideband suppressed carrier signal consist of? It consists of C of t into M of t, that is carrier signal into message signal. We are going to represent that as what? AC into cos 2 pi FCT into M of t. So this signal is applied to the two product modulator present here, and here this upper product modulator is called as the I channel, that is in phase product modulator, that is the I channel, and here below product modulator is called as the Q channel, that is a quadrature channel. So now what we are going to do here is we are going to supply with the 90 degree phase shift. This is a 90 degree phase shifter which is given to both the upper product modulator, that is I channel, as well as the Q channel. Now from the product modulator we are going to get the C of t carrier, that is of sine into 2 pi FCT plus phi, and now here we are going to get cos into 2 pi FCT plus phi. So we can see the signal obtaining from the product modulator, and that has been sent to the voltage control oscillator. So because we have taken that from the phase shifter, that signal is passed to the voltage control oscillator. Here after getting the I channel product modulator output and the Q channel product modulator output, we are going to pass that through the low pass filter. So you all know that why we are going to take the low pass filter, because whichever the unwanted signal present out of M of t it will going to remove, that is why we are going to consider low pass filter. And one more thing you can see here. So after that we are going to get the equation across the low pass filter, that is what? Half into AC cos pi M of t. Here we are going to get half into AC sin phi M of t, which is 90 degree phase shift. Here we are going to, after that we are going to obtain the demodulated signal. Now you can see here we have got the phase discriminator. So what does the phase discriminator will going to do here is, it consists of multiple multipliers. It consists of various multipliers which is followed by the low pass filter, and it produces the DC control signal, and which is proportional to the phase error phi. Now what does the DC control signal will going to do here is, it is used to correct the phase error. So we are going to represent the phase error with respect to what? Phi. It will going to correct the phase error in the local oscillator, and at last Costas receiver will going to have, it is called as the negative feedback system. So here it will going to have the phase discriminator, which is used, consist of multipliers and the low pass filter, which is used to correct the phi, that is the phase error. So here we are going to explain the quadrature carrier multiplexing. So that is also called as what? Quadrature amplitude modulating. So why we are going to use this quadrature carrier multiplexing is, so we know that we require a bandwidth in order to send the carrier as well as the message signal. In this quadrature carrier multiplexing scheme, we are going to have the bandwidth conservation scheme. So here we have got the diagram which consists of product modulator. So here you can see, for the product modulator we are going to apply the M1 of t and M2 of t. That means what? Here we are going to apply the two message signal to the two different product modulator. So why this is called as the bandwidth conservation scheme? Because here we are going to occupy the same transmission channel of bandwidth in order to send the two message signals. So we will see that how we are going to pass the same two different message signal with using the same bandwidth. So after considering M1 of t and M2 of t, we are going to apply that to the product modulator, which consists of the 90-degree phase shifter. So whereas we are going to get the AC cos 2 pi FCT. The output of the product modulator is given to the sum here. So where it consists as the multiplexed signal. So at this end we are going to have both the message signal, that is M1 of t and M2 of t. So this diagram is called as the quadrature amplitude modulator transmitter. So at the receiver side we have to separate the M1 of t and M2 of t. So you can see here, by using the same bandwidth we are going to pass the M1 of t and M2 of t. Now this is the diagram of receiver side. So whereas we know that we are going to apply the signal, that is the multiplex signal which is obtained from the transmitter. This multiplexed signal again we are going to give it to the product modulator, which consists of what? Minus 190-degree phase shifter. It is connected to this product modulator, and that product modulator is considered with the low pass filter, attached with the low pass filter. Whereas after that, what is the main working of the low pass filter is, it will going to remove the unwanted terms. So after that we are going to get the, at the upper side of the product modulator we are going to retrieve the half into AC into M1 of t, and the lower product modulator we are going to retrieve back the message 2, that is half into AC into M2 of t. So we can conclude this QAM receiver or the transmitter, we can conclude by using the same bandwidth, that is 2 omega, that is same bandwidth we can able to transmit the two message signal, that is M1 of t and M2 of t. That is why it is called as bandwidth conservation scheme, which will going to occupy the same transmission channel of bandwidth. So here, after getting that, combining both the transmitter and the receiver, the output of the product modulator we are going to get that as S of t is equal to AC into M1 of t into cos 2 pi FCT, and because of the 90-degree phase shift we are going to get AC into M2 of t into sin 2 pi FCT.